A new movie, Eileen, released this year, directed by William Oldroyd, who's also the writer. It stars Thomasin McKenzie, who plays Eileen Dunlop, Peter Von Berg, who's Dr. Fryer, Anne Hathaway, who's Dr. Rebecca St. John, and Shea Whigham plays Jim Dunlop. I remember him in, I think it was that gangster movie series with, and the name escapes me, Boardwalk Empire, and the other members of the cast. Nobody notable. Anyway, this is set in Massachusetts in 1964, and it's about a bored, mousy and miserable 24-year-old New Zealand actress is a secretary in an office at a juvenile detention centre for boys in an angry blue-collar small town just outside Boston. At work, she often daydreams of making it with the prison guard. She lives with her alcoholic and emotionally abusive ex-police captain, widowed father, whom she cares for at night. And her new colleague is a worldly, impressive and articulate criminal psychologist, the glamorous Dr. Rebecca St. John, played by Hathaway, whom Eileen befriends while her department acts sexist towards her. So there's a possible affectionate relationship between the women, and the film makes a darker and more twisted noir turn, which this review isn't going to disclose. So let's get on with it. We first meet Eileen. She's in her car. She's gone to the coast. She's obviously got some time off, and she's imagining what it would be like to have some intimate relationship. Her eyes caught by a couple who are sort of being quite affectionate, and it looks like they may well be leading towards intercourse inside their car. It's a very dreary day, and they're at the coast. Possibly this is a place where young lovers go to have a little bit of hanky-panky. We then see Eileen as she goes to work, and she's sort of really not there. She's really in a bit of a dream, and while she's carrying out some mundane check of visitors, frisking, she then quickly has another fantasy where she's being sodomized, really, by one of the male staff. She's not very highly thought of by her colleagues, particularly an older woman, because she seems to be in a daydream. And anyway, that's the first thoughts I have on this movie. We learn a bit more about Eileen's life. She calls in at the liquor store to get a couple of bottles of bourbon, and then arrives back in her small town and is immediately confronted with a problem. Her father, who's an alcoholic, an ex-cop, is out on the street and causing trouble, which has led to a local police officer come to the scene. She manages to, with the help of the police officer, to get him back inside, and so the immediate problem's resolved. And then we get a sort of dialogue of sorts, but dominated by her father, who goes out of his way to point out Eileen's deficiencies in comparison to her older sister, who's now married and left the family home. Eileen, of course, full-time worker, is somewhat slack at keeping the place tidy, but her father is very, very critical of her, which doesn't do her self-esteem much good. And she imagines, and we've seen this with her sexual sort of fantasies, that she also imagines one day throwing him in the trunk of the car when he's too drunk to walk, maybe with thoughts about getting rid of him. But all in all, we're presented with a scenario where Eileen's life is very mundane, lacks any great sort of excitement or affection, and we could hardly describe her as a happy young woman. The following day, attention shifted towards the new prison psychologist, Dr. Rebecca St. John, played by Anne Hathaway, and she immediately seems to be caught the eye of young Eileen. They later exchange sort of introductions, but it's apparent that there is some sort of dynamic at large here, but that's as far as it goes early on. A routine day at the prison, boys' prison, but a visit by a mother to see her son ends rather emotionally, and it brings together again the psychiatrist and Eileen, and after exchanging work issues, the psychiatrist invites Eileen to go for a drink after work. This impacts Eileen considerably, and she takes time out to sort of prepare herself by shaving her legs, and she's clearly attracted to this woman, but there's no hint that it's reciprocated, but she's desperate for some sort of affection. Anyway, they meet for a drink. The doctor gets pretty plastered, but there seems to be a friendship developing, and then she suggests dancing. They do some small talk with some middle-aged men on an adjoining table, but anyway, they then sort of dance together, first rhythmic, then a slow smooch, and one of the middle-aged guys tries to grab the doctor away. He's pretty pissed, and the doctor reacts by punching this guy, who sort of cowers away, and then the two girls turn in this intimate sort of dance, and it certainly appears to be impacting on Eileen. So there's a neat plot twist in the last half an hour of this movie, which I won't spoil your interest. Just to say that it's intriguing. The two women are at the heart of it. There is a third character that we met briefly earlier, and then of course there's the father. But it's an above average film. Not great, but above average. Get to watch it. It's called Eileen, and it was released in 2023.